A horrific Halloween mystery. Who killed baby Nima Carter? 19-month-old Nima Carter was put to bed by her parents on Halloween night, 1977, in her crib at their Lawton, Oklahoma home. It would be the last time her parents ever saw her alive. Nima's parents heard their daughter crying that night after she'd been put to bed, but chose to let her cry it out. Her father, George, still questions this decision decades later, saying in a 2007 interview, "What if we had gotten up to check her that night? What if we had brought her in to sleep with us?" The next morning, baby Nima's parents were horrified to discover their daughter missing from her crib. The bedroom windows were still locked from the inside and not broken, so law enforcement theorized that the killer may have been hiding in a large wardrobe that was inside the room and stolen Nima while her parents were sleeping. Nima's parents were investigated and cleared of any involvement in her disappearance. The family had been victims of two disturbing incidents prior to Nima's disappearance. 2 months earlier, their dog was found dead from poisoning. A few days later, their house had been broken into and vandalized. A month after Nima went missing, children playing in an abandoned house 4 blocks from her home made a gruesome discovery: the decomposed body of Nima Carter inside a refrigerator. Detectives concluded that Nima had been stuffed inside the fridge shortly after her abduction and left to suffocate. The cause of her death was ruled asphyxiation. Over a year earlier, in April 1976, a similar crime had occurred in Lawton. 3-year-old twin sisters Tina and Mary Carpenter were reportedly lured out of their house into an abandoned home and stuffed into a fridge, just like Nima had been. 2 days later, they were discovered when a group of children playing nearby heard Tina's cries for help. She had managed to survive by breathing through a small hole. Unfortunately, Mary succumbed to asphyxiation. Tina identified her kidnapper as their babysitter, 16-year-old Jackie Robideau. However, due to her young age, her testimony was considered unreliable and a lack of physical evidence led to no charges being filed at the time. Later on, a neighbor would testify that she saw Jackie dragging the twins from their home on the night of April 8, stating that Jackie had grabbed the girls by the wrists and they were trying to get free. She never reported the incident to the police, stating, "I guess like other people, I didn't want to get involved." Eventually, Jackie began babysitting for Rose and George Carter, watching their daughter Nima on weekends. The couple worked full-time but reportedly liked to go out and party during the weekends. In 1979, Jackie Robideau was arrested and later sentenced to life in prison for the murder of Mary Carpenter. She was considered a suspect in Nima's case but refused to talk about her death. Jackie died in prison in 2005 due to complications from liver cancer. The Jackie Robideau we knew? No, it just doesn't add up. We never sensed that about her. Whenever Jackie came over, Nina would run up to her and give her a big hug. But several years ago, I saw an interview with Jackie in a newspaper. She said she was on drugs at that time in her life. Was it someone we knew? I think so, someone who was familiar with our house. But I've never been fully convinced it was Jackie. Nima's grandmother Audrey Carter has a very different opinion. "I thought Robideau was capable. I look back now at so many curious things with her. She was just weird." Cecil Davidson, a retired police detective who worked the case, confronted Jackie about Nima's murder. Jackie claims she was playing bingo the night Nima disappeared. "She was very quiet," Davidson recalled. "She never looked you in the eyes, her eyes were always somewhere else or looking at the ground. She would always get right close to telling you something critical, and then she'd back off. We could never get her to confess." The frustrating part was we had no physical evidence, no fingerprints, no footprints, no hair, no blood. Nothing. She was very angry about the fact that everybody got to play bingo, and she would get stuck babysitting. To this day, I'm convinced Jackie Robideau murdered Nima. But the DA never felt we had enough to prosecute. Nima's case remains unsolved. Her mother died in 2000 without ever knowing who killed her daughter. George Carter is still alive, stating in a 2007 interview, "I don't need to know because the person who did this will have to ultimately answer to God," he said. "You know, I'll never forget the act, but I forgive the person. I really do." and that alone has set me free." In a 2019 interview, he said, "I'd like to talk to Jackie now. If I did, I'd ask her if she killed Nima. I'd hope she would tell me the truth." Discussion points. Who do you think killed Nima?